Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Camp Kaiju. My name is Vincent, and we are talking about monster movies. This week, we're going to talk about another Godzilla movie. This is Godzilla vs. Hedorah, also known as the Smog Monster, but let's be real, nobody's calling him that these days. So in this video, just like every other, we're going to talk about the movie for about 5 minutes, talk about what we loved, what we found challenging, and what was downright campy about this movie. Quick little story time, I just want to say, this movie holds a bit of a special place in my heart as far as kaiju movies. It's one of the few that my brother and I were able to rent way back in the day when we were kids. And unlike the other movies we rented, we never returned to this one. So what do you know, we kept it and we watched it a lot, but I hadn't seen it in a really long time until just a few weeks ago. And I thought, yeah, let's revisit this one and see what I think of it now as a 29-year-old versus a 9-year-old. So with that in mind, what I loved about the movie was the risks the storytellers and the creative team took with it, especially in terms of tone. They wanted to get away from the kid stuff, and they made it really scary at times and really intense. I really enjoyed that. And it did not work. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later and what was challenging. It did not work all the time, but when it did, it was good. I really think so. I think Hedorah's design is really good. There's a lot to look at. You almost have to pause the movie just to okay, what am I looking at? And I'm talking about his upright figure evolution. I love that he has different evolutions. Total Pokemon move there. Super cool. So what I did find challenging a bit at times was the unevenness of the tone. So you'd have some really intense moments. Spoiler alert. Like people being turned to skeletons, or a crying baby in sludge, or a cat in sludge. And I was like, oh wow, these moments are actually a little jarring and don't work, because the movie is also still being pulled in by its the kid demographic, and the creative team is still catering to this child-like whimsy of Godzilla movies at the time. And because they didn't just pick one or the other, it lends itself to a real unevenness that can be jarring at times for a 29-year-old watching the movie. So, but hey, you take the both, and it is what it is. What I also found challenging about Hedorah was how much waste he produced in his battle with Godzilla at the end. There's a whole lot of waste, and when you're a 9-year-old, when the characters are talking about how Hedorah produces waste, you just think, oh, it's garbage. But as a 29-year-old, you go, oh, that's waste. Like waste. And Godzilla is being buried in waste. And it's really nasty and gross. And if you allow yourself to think about it the way it kind of is, you're like, you could see why the producers themselves were not a fan of this movie that literally pooped on their King of the Monsters. I mean, that's kind of campy too, which leads me into the camp. I love the self-referentialness of this movie, that the kid is playing with Godzilla action figures in a Godzilla movie. So I think that's fun and campy. You know, you take like I said, you take the kid stuff and you take the adult stuff. It doesn't always work, but all in all, this is a really unique movie, and I applaud it for the risks it took. So that's Godzilla vs. Hedorah at Camp Kaiju. Follow me at Camp Kaiju on Instagram, and we will be talking about the next one here soon. Be on the lookout for that. Let's get to it.